Okay, hey everyone, welcome to another episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. Today we have a really cool little strap showcase for you guys from the brand Strapsco. They're really known for their massive collection of watch bands and accessories. And in terms of product highlights here, we have the classic accordion style rubber dive strap. Now these are inspired by classic Seiko style diver bands. This strap is tough, detours debris, so that means, it's not going to be a lit magnet, which is always nice, and it's pretty much always ready to handle whatever adventures you may throw its way. These are the Dassari Wave FKM rubber straps, and they only go for $34.99. Guys, I typically, can stick to a wide range of product reviews on here, and recently, I would say I've gotten a lot more into some higher end options, but it's stuff like this that always kind of brings me back. So while I was actually sourcing another octo roll, their Saffiano octo rolls for another feature, I thought why not take a look at these straps. So big shout out to Strapsco for sending these in every different colorway, because I think they look great here. I mean, you can see here, very classically styled and paired with that turtle reissue from Seiko. And then another nice thing is because this is Strapsco, guys, you can do the buy two get one free deals that they have. And I mean, there's constantly promotions. And by the time this posts, I'm sure there will be even more promotions because of the holidays. So definitely follow the links down in the video description if you want to learn more. But with all that said, let's go ahead, zoom the camera out, get this piece in hand, and take a closer look. All right, guys. Now, I always want to make like a deliberate point to also show packaging on stuff, because although this is not like some, unboxing heavy type of channel, I do think it's important to see kind of, hey, what you're going to be getting within these packages. So here we do have it paired on this lovely strap, 22 millimeter lug width, very classic for, divers of this era. But most of today's dive watches, even from Seiko, are going to have these 20 millimeter lug widths. So I did want to showcase these in that scale so you guys can get a look, and then also in every different colorway. But let's actually start with the orange, because that is definitely diver friendly. And you guys can already see a little bit of a bonus. I know on the site they list these as coming with, free spring bars included. They didn't say 2 sets though, so that's pretty awesome. And that is actually consistent with all of these packages. So you might even get a little bit of bonus there with some extra spring bar action, which I can appreciate. Now, the packaging isn't anything crazy, but it definitely will, get you through a pinch in terms of if you're going to store these or you're trying to organize them in any way. The nice thing is, although it's not really meant to be reusable, it's definitely sturdy enough to absolutely, be put inside an organizing little box or container and give you a nice little bit of separation. So with this nice bright colorway, the nice thing is you're going to be able to see a lot of these details. One thing I like is that they went with the symmetrical wave pattern here. A lot of times if you look at the OEM straps, they're going to actually have more humps and bumps on one end versus the other, and I never knew why. I mean, there could be some functional reason for it, but for me, aesthetically, I definitely appreciate to have the symmetry that on both ends it's going to reflect how many of the little waves that are there. And of course, these are going to be great for if you're getting into the water, or maybe even not, but mostly for when you're in the water and your wrist is going to expand or retract, right? Depending on how much pressure is on you. So I think that's a nice feature in terms of keeping it nice and comfortable, but also in terms of if you're not going to be in the water, the nice thing is, hey, if it gets a little hot, a little cool, whatever, you have a little bit of flexibility in terms of how you're tightening down, because you're getting a little bit of kind of elasticity there that's going to, give you a little bit of just, I guess like it's just a little wiggle room, right? And it's not too much, but you have it. Another nice feature here is you're going to see these great little channels all through here, and essentially what that's going to do is, hey, if you're sweaty or whatever, the nice thing is you're going to have room for that to dry off because it's not sitting directly on your wrist. And then on the other side, nice and clean and smooth. Here you have, of course, that nice milled setup in terms of the pin buckle. Even the finger is nicely milled, so that is nice. I mean, this is nothing high end, and I don't think you should expect that at the price point, but it absolutely does the job, and it suits, you know, the types of watches that these are really going to be organic to. So I dig that kind of old school style, but it's not like period specific, right? Not like when you put on a Tropic or an ISO frame, it's like, you know, 50s, 60s, 70s. Here, this is definitely a little bit more contemporary, and it can be modern, but it can also be a bit of a throwback to a classic at the same time. So you do have these 4 colors available. I do dig the orange. Of course, I think for a dive strap, you gotta have orange, especially since there's so many watches that are gonna have orange accents on them, and this style is gonna really suit that. But one I was really excited about was the green. So let's go ahead and pop that open here. And in terms of the width availabilities, currently, at the time of filming this, they are available in both 20 and 22 millimeter lug widths, which is great. Again, so if you have an older, you know, let's say an SKX or Monster or something like that, you can definitely rock with something like this. Or if you have something newer, or even somewhere kind of in the middle, like a Sumo, or, you know, any one of the reissues of the Marine Master style, or the 6105 Willard style watches, or any of the you know, 62 MAS styles. But I really, really like this green. Check that out. Very versatile, and there are so many cool divers now that can be a little bit monochromatic, right? Where they do a black dial, white bezel insert. So to have, white dial, black bezel insert. So having something like this can really add a nice pop of color. Not quite as aggressive, of course, and loud as the orange, but a little bit more of kind of a year-round flavor where it's going to add just a little pop of color. And, you know, if you're somebody that really enjoys the color green, of course, you could really go all the way into that, you know, find a green dial watch, etc. But again, the nice thing here is you're going to get a nicer level of quality than you would typically find with OEM, where they're not going to be using FKM rubber. They're going to be using silicone, which is going to be definitely a lot, you know, dustier and tacky. And they're just going to, not tacky in style, but like in terms of the tactile engagement and touching on them and things sticking to them, which isn't the greatest when that happens. So I totally can appreciate something like this in FKM rubber. And then they did them a bit thicker, so they are on the thicker side. So the FKM rubber is, while still pliable, these aren't, you know, some super soft wearing ones. These definitely give you a bit more structure. So when you do have that nice, bigger, you know, mechanical dive watch, you're going to be able to keep it centered on your wrist really quite well. Because yeah, sometimes they can be a bit top heavy. The nice thing is here, you're going to get enough kind of counterbalance on the strap as well. So again, if you're wearing it for more of a functional task, these are great. If you're wearing it for daily comfort, you know, they might be a little overkill and a little overly robust and structured for that, depending on what you're looking for. So I'm just going to throw that out there because I know everybody kind of has different tastes. Now, in terms of the length here, let's pop open the blue. I love, of course, a good dark blue strap because I love a good dark blue dial. The thing that's tough with blue, though, is there's so many different hues and shades. Some can be a little bit more purpley. Some can be, you know, a bit overly bright. And that's the thing that can be tough about a blue strap. The nice thing here is, you know, you err on the side of safety, which is to go darker, because a darker blue is going to go great with a lighter blue. Sometimes the lighter blue is just going to kind of offset. So I like that they went with a darker tone. It's more of a true, you know, navy blue here. This isn't going to have a lot of blurple kind of purple undertones or anything like that. This is going to render and read as a very nice blue, which is going to go with, of course, a wide array of different divers. And typically, you know, I love a blue dial dive watch, and this would pair really nicely. And you don't necessarily have to have a blue dial dive watch. You can have something, you know, with especially when you get to Seiko and the slim Willard kind of slim turtle lines, you know, the glacier dials and stuff like that with the blued hand accents, that would just be set off beautifully here. In terms of the length, you're going to have that pretty standard 80 millimeter on the short side, and then actually 100 and 14 millimeter, which is actually not ultra long in terms of the short end here. I was surprised to read that. So I like that, because typically you go 80, 120 is going to be pretty standard for straps. And then you have something like this, it's going to be a little bit shorter, which means there's going to be less of that extra tail. And that's another, advantage in terms of for daily wear. A lot of times you're going to get so much extra tail on the other end with these dive straps, because they want to have, of course, enough for it to fit over a wetsuit. But then for daily wear, you don't really need all that extra tail. So it's nice that they give you an option to have it just a little bit more, attuned for daily wear. So I dig that. And you guys can see, of course, now with the darker shades, it looks great. And then even have a black here in 20 millimeter. Don't be surprised if you're scrolling through my Instagram at some point and you guys see this on maybe my Slim Turtle or Slim Willard, depending on whatever you want to nickname it. Because yeah, again, this look is just very timeless, and I feel very, very organic to the Seiko brand. And you guys can see here the pores, everything. It's nice and tight, and there's not a lot of, let's see if there's any dust on there. We can just, you guys can see I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm not wiping it. I'm not having to wet it or anything. Just take it, dust it off, and it's good to go. So I definitely like that. Again, these are on the thicker side though, so that is something to consider when it comes to, your wearing style and what you find comfortable. I think ultimately, if they did want to refine this another step, it would have been nice if they would have maybe made it to where it tapers lengthwise as well, so that it comes to be a little bit thinner, where you're going to have to fold it underneath. You can see here, it's pretty nice thickness all the way through, which again is typically a positive for any type of strap. But for me, if I'm trying to think of, all right, well, specialize as a dive strap, sure, that's great. But in terms of everyday wearability, I think that might be nice in terms of just a future refinement. But with that said, let's actually get this on the wrist and just show you guys just how clean and classic this comes out. So with that, we pop that in there. You can see very nice. You got that double keeper. That's actually a single keeper if you look underneath. So quite robust in terms of, worrying about that breaking down over time or anything like that. So that looks really good. Let's scoot these up a little bit. Check that out. Very nice. And you can see I don't have anything obscene hanging out on the other side in terms of that extra tail. That looks really, really good. Get that. Ooh, check that out. I love that accordion style there, where again, it's just giving you a little bit of flex room. And yeah, that's something that, of course, with the popularity of quick adjust clasps and everything like that, people have really started to embrace the idea that you can just max out the comfort and maybe not have to wear it too tight or too loose from somewhere, just dial it in to just right. So I dig that. And you guys can see here, very clean, great execution. Again, these aren't luxury level. This is a $34.99 strap. So when you get to maybe some of the mold lines there, I think that's definitely within acceptable tolerance for the price point. And I think, that's something that really, it's something maybe a reviewer would nitpick like myself, but an actual person is going to get this. And as long as this looks good and you don't have to, nothing is glaringly hanging off or looking unkept or unfinished, then you're not really going to have to dive in very deep. You're just going to say, okay, hey, this stuff works. Everything's nice. Everything's solid there. Comes together beautifully. And you can see even down to the fully milled hardware. So yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below here, guys. I'm digging these a lot. I like that they have, free spring bars included, especially at the price point. You're getting the materials of, that FKM vulcanized rubber, which is great. There is a bit of a thickness taper, but of course that's more so considering, the thicker points of the upper part of the strap versus it maybe thinning out. If I was going to leave them any notes for how this could be improved, I'd say probably about halfway down the strap, just have it taper down to be a little bit thinner at the tip. Although you see there is a slight taper, maybe make it ever so slightly more tapered in terms of that thinness, just so this piece as it folds under, where you're going to have 2 layers of rubber there, just is going to be a little bit more compressed. I think that would be nice. So yeah, it's nice. It's not perfect, but at the price point, I wouldn't expect it to be. And yeah, $30, $35. That's not, well, that's not cheap. It's definitely far from expensive when it comes to, if you guys are fans of the channel, you know how high and how deep those rabbit holes can go when it comes to premium rubber straps. Whether you're paying for, some brand wizardry, or you're paying for a particular design aesthetic that you really enjoy or appreciate, that's kind of up to you. But I really dig this. It's very classic. And then again, a lot of times these OEM straps, if they didn't come with your watch, and you want one, you're going to end up paying a decent premium to get one of the OEM ones, which ultimately is probably going to be a little bit dustier, a little bit more flimsy, versus something like this, which I think does hit strike a nice balance in terms of being quite nice, on the wrist, as well as, looking also quite good when you have everything on a flat lay, maybe for some Instagram action or whatever your heart desires. So you can definitely do it, a bunch of different ways and really enjoy these. So for me, guys, getting into the closing thoughts, this is just a classic design, but updated with a more solid modern feel, while, on the thicker side, yes, it's still pretty pliable, and with a slight trade-off in absolute comfort. Yeah, like these, I'm not going to say like I recommend these to be like the world's most comfortable FKM strap. They're not. They're a bit thicker and more robust, but that's a trade-off, right? So yeah, maybe not the most absolutely comfortable FKM straps on the market, but you gain that extra planted feel, right? That will really tame even the most top heavy full-size mechanical divers. Like, the turtle reissue is no slouch. It's a 44 millimeter. I mean, it wears really well. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, it's a good amount of steel to have on your wrist. And I love that I can really just shake this up, and it's it feels planted. It's not going anywhere, and I really dig that and can appreciate that. So again, although this may feel like a little overkill, for more medium-sized watches, so like if you're going to throw this on a smaller, more modern diver, maybe a quartz diver or something like that are going to just be a little bit more lighter weight, this, again, might feel a bit like overkill in terms of the structure and the planted nature you're going to get. But, for your standard, again, this is, I'd say, one of the gold standards when it comes to functional, everyday, mechanical divers. This is really going to be perfectly paired and matched with that. So let me know what you guys all think down in the comments below. If you like the video, please do it like, and if you aren't already, please subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.